why I thought.
There is an option more. If you press on those three dots, no more option, then they give you number of participants.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So the 17th chapter begins with this question of Arjun, because in the 16th chapter at the end, Bhagwan said that those who do not follow the instructions of the scriptures and they behave licentiously, they don't attain success here, they don't attain peace, nor they attain supreme fulfillment. ये शास्त्र विधि मुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिमवाप्नोति न सुखम न पराम गतिम. So when Bhagavan said that, he concluded by saying tasmat shastram pramanam te karya karya vyavasthitau. Hence you should follow the scriptures to know what is to be done and what should not be done. Jnatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartum iharhasi. So now Arjun has that question that there are some people, so 4 scenarios we saw, I'm just quickly summarizing. Scenario 1, those who know the scriptures and those who are living by the scriptures. That situation, we know that they will attain fulfillment, they will attain happiness, peace, everything also here. Another extreme is those who don't know the scriptures, don't find out and don't live by that. That also Bhagavan explained. Shastra vidhi mutsrujya vartate kamakaratha. By their own imagination, fanciful thoughts, projections, whims, they live by that. Bhagavan said they will not attain neither success here, happiness here, nor supreme fulfillment. Now, one case is those who know the scriptures, they are struggling to live, but they keep falling. They will no doubt get the karma phala of whatever they are putting the efforts in, and Bhagwan's grace also will be there, and they will come up and they will continue to walk and they will reach. Now is the case of somebody who doesn't know what the scripture is saying but has Shraddha because of what they have heard, because of tradition, because whatever they have been following in the family or wherever else. Ye Shastra Vidhim Utsrujya Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha. They are doing things with Shraddha, but they don't know the process. They don't know what the scripture is actually saying. Tesham Nishtha tu ka Krishna Sattva Maho Rajas Tamaha. What is their condition? Is it Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic? Will they attain higher? Will they go lower? Will they, just be stagnant? What will happen to them? So Bhagavan says that Shraddha is also of three types. Trividha bhavati Shraddha Dehinam sa Svabhavaja. As per the Swabhav, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas combination of that person, the Shraddha also will be affected, and as per the Shraddha, Swabhav also will get affected. Both these are influencing each other. So he says, Dehinam sa Swabhavaja, Satviki, Rajasi, Chaiva, Tamasi, Cheti, Tam Shunu. Three types of Shraddha, he says. And goes on to also explain that why a person is what the faith is. Shraddha mayoyam purushaha yo yat shraddha sayevasaha. A man is what his faith is, a woman is what her faith is. Why? Because it is the deepest layer in the personality. We have Shraddha in certain ideas, thought processes. Even a scientist has Shraddha in the five elements, in the laws of nature. We have Shraddha, we have faith in our senses, we have faith in our ideas, knowledge. So he says, Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata. Each one's Shraddha is as per their nature. If they are very sattvic, they will have Shraddha in Bhagavan. Rajasic, they will have Shraddha in people, power, position. Tamasic, they will have Shraddha in the lower forms of even, hurting, harming, any of these also, or people who are engaging in all this. So the Shraddha of the person is what will determine their karma, and the karma will influence their Shraddha. And so we can't just simply say that, okay, if they don't know the scripture, but they are acting out of Shraddha, only good will happen to them. No, it depends on what is the level of Shraddha and how are they using that Shraddha. Satvik Shraddha, Rajasic Shraddha, Tamasic Shraddha. Shraddha is faith. Faith is the source of strength. Faith is the source of even the requirement for knowledge. Shraddha, Van Labhate Jnanam. If I have Shraddha that Bhagavan is and that is the goal of my life, now I will pursue that and I will attain that. If my Shraddha is that money is the most important, everything else is secondary, then I will run behind money. I will put aside people, love, harmony, relationship, society, ethics, morality, everything gone, only money. So what is invisible in that Shraddha is required technically. But here it also means the deepest driving desire. People have Shraddha in powerful people, saying ki, okay, I know this person, he is my good friend and now he will help me to, attain certain level of success. People have. So that's why he says, Yajante Satvika Devan Yaksharaksham Sirajasaha Pretan Bhutaganan Chanya Yajante Tamasa Janaha. Those who are having Satvik Shraddha, they worship Bhagavan. Yajante Satvika Devan. They worship Devata, they worship Bhagavan. Now, if they don't know the scriptural method, but they are worshipping Bhagavan with that Shraddha and with the Satvik Bhav, they will attain good result, and Bhagavan will also ensure that whatever is required by them, if they need knowledge, if they need guidance, if they need some person to come and help them, those will come. So Yajante Satvika Devan. This is This question is not an excuse to say that we won't learn what the scripture is saying. We just follow because we have Shraddha. Shraddha is most important. Bhav is most important. Baki sab we discount. No, no, no. The very fact that now we are studying this means the knowledge is coming to us. Bhagwan has created the environment. Your punya has brought you here. You are listening. Now one has to introspect whatever sadhanas I am doing, especially in the spiritual field, and even otherwise, my duties, what I am doing, the understanding of right and wrong, what I have, is it in line with dharma? Is it in line with what the Shastra is saying? Or I'm just following because I've heard about it, people have told so many things, we don't know what the scripture is actually saying and how we are practicing. It can be anything. It can be Tirtha Yatra, it can be Upvas, Ekadashi Vrat, Maun Vrat, Sandhya Vandan, even celebration of festivals, anything. Even the forms of Bhagwan. Like Ganeshji, we make Ganeshji into any form, but actually we should not do that. Ganeshji has a specific form, and there are specific ayudhas that he has, specific colors that are there, and we have to worship them in that form, in that way. It's a different thing that, okay, Bhav, Bhagwan takes Bhav also, no doubt. But that should not become an excuse not to know the scripture and to follow what the scriptural tradition is saying. If somebody morphs our picture today and puts it up somewhere and says, this is this person, will we accept? You say, no, no, this is not me, this is deep fake, this is morphing, this is some kind of AI which has been used, this is not me. But Ganeshji, we do anything. Shastra never told us to do any of that. For our entertainment, Bhagwan is not for entertainment. Bhagwan is for us to surrender our ego and to realize oneness. That we are making any form, do anything. Bhagwan cricket, Ganeshji is playing cricket also. Ganeshji is playing guitar also. Anything one is doing. So what the scripture says, okay, worship Ganeshji. So why offer Durva to Ganeshji? Worship him first. So many things are written there. I'm just giving one example. Like that, methods are there for worshipping all the different forms. Methods are there for puja, japa, vrata, upvas, everything. That one has to know. When one knows, see, the Shastra is to help us to increase our Shraddha if it is Sattvic, or transform it from Tamasic, Rajasic to Sattvic. And finally, it helps to train the body, mind, intellect in such a way that we align it and we surrender to Bhagwan and we realize oneness with the Supreme. It is not a limitation. It is not that why should I follow? You see, in science, will you say that? Will you say why only two hydrogen and one oxygen? I will mix whatever I like. No, if you want water, you have to mix like that only. Nobody will say, but that's a limitation. You know why this science is putting limitation on me? I am a free bird. I can do what I like. Then water won't come. You do whatever mixing you like. Some result will come. If you want water, you have to follow the rule. I'm giving simple example. Like that you do for so many things. The laws that are there in this world, one has to understand. When one follows those, one is able to tap the potential that is there. Same way, spiritual life also, it is not to limit it. The Dharma Shastra is not to limit us. We think like that. That's our limitation. Anywhere where there is a certain boundary which is put, a rule or a limitation which is put, the intent obviously has to be known very clearly, but we are going by the scripture here. The intent is for our good. Water is flowing freely. If you put a dam, literally the power of the water you can harness, create electricity, do so many things with it. If we say no need to put any dam, it's all restrictive, let it flow. Then nothing, you cannot tap only. So, Sattvic Shraddha those who have, they worship devatas. They worship those phenomenal forces, and they also worship Supreme Lord in the way in which the scripture will prescribe, or if they are not worshipping in the way the scriptures prescribe, at least their bhav is sattvic. This is what the question of Arjun is. They don't know the scripture, but they are worshipping with Shraddha. So with Sattvic Shraddha, they are worshipping. What is Sattvic Shraddha there? Selflessly, having faith that Bhagavan exists, though one may not be able to see them physically, but if one lifts the mind, one will be able to experience also. So with that bhav, one worships that Bhagavan exists, Bhagavan loves me, I am worshipping, this sadhana will help me to be one with Bhagavan. And the person may even want anything, purity of mind, knowledge, guru, satsang, whatever. All those are sattvic things that one wants. Or may just love Bhagavan and offer, want nothing. That is also sattvic. So he says, those who have sattvic shraddha will worship Bhagavan. Then he says, yaksha rakshamsi rajasaha. Those who are having rajasic shraddha, they will worship yaksha and rakshasa. They will worship not only yaksha and rakshasa as the different species of beings, but they will basically worship people who are powerful, because they want anything, name, fame, power, prosperity, any of that. So they will be behind such forces as well as people. We have seen all that in the commentary, so I'm not going into the detail. And preta and bhuta, those who have departed as well as those who are in a ghost form. There are people who are tamasic shraddha, they will worship these forces because they also have certain powers greater than human beings. A preta can tell you certain things, bhuta can tell you certain things. Because they are out of the body, they have much more subtler powers than us. So then they can tell, and there are people who will know how to communicate with these beings, and then there are people who want to connect with such people who can communicate with such beings for their benefit or sometimes for hurting and harming others. That is the tamasic benefit, tamasic worship. Now, one clarity one must have here is that the worship of Pitrus is not in this Pretan Bhuta Ganans Chanye. That doesn't come here. Because worship of Pitrus is a Pitru Runa that we have. We have a duty towards our ancestors, and one does it as a obligatory duty, which will come under Satvik Shraddha only. So one should not say, okay, tomorrow onwards, now I am not going to do anything to do with my Pitrus, no Shraddha and all henceforth, no Pitru Karmas and Mahalaya Amavasya and the Pitru Paksh, I will not do anything. Why? Because it's tamasic worship. No, 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 no. They have already reached Pitru Loka, or they may be on the way, whatever, whenever they have departed, whatever is their state. We have an obligatory duty towards them to be grateful, to help them, to chant the mantras, to do the rituals which will help them to move ahead. That is not this tamasic worship. This tamasic worship is to get certain benefit for oneself. So now, having said this, Bhagavan goes ahead to explain about tapas. Because sometimes when people don't know what is there in the scripture and they want to please Bhagavan, then anything they do which is born out of their mind and imagination. So Bhagavan is warning Arjun, saying ki that type of a thing doesn't please me. Two verses here, 5th and 6th. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapo janaha dambha hankara sanyuktaha kamaraga balanvitaha कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थं भूतग्राममचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थं तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्. The sixth one, last line is important. Tan vidhi asura nishchayan. Definitely know these such people to be asuras. Who? First he says ashastra vihitam. They don't follow the scripture. Because scripture won't tell them to do all this. They are doing out of their own ego. And people also look at them and say, oh my God, such ghor tapasya. Well, who told you to do that? Ashastra vihitam. But we'll see what that means. Ashastra vihitam ghoram. Very terrible. Tapyante ye tapojanaha. They practice such austerities. What is their motive? Dambha ahankara sanyuktaha. With great pride and ego, they do this. And with hypocrisy, they do. Pretending to be tapasvi outside, but is a bhogi inside. Doing it for bhoga only. And doing it for destroying others. So many of the asuras, they did the tapas not because they really love Bhagwan, not because they want to purify their mind, not because they want to get something which will help the society, nothing. Why did they do? Get power, torture people, rule, become more, glorious. Three worlds, one will control, one will become supreme. The Damba Ahankar only. It is only to feed their ego. It is not to, really make some difference or to evolve. Damba Ahankara Sanyuktaha. And what is their motive? Kama Raga Balanvitaha. Because of lust and attachment only they are doing it. It's not easy to see this. Externally it is it is as though they are doing great tapasya, they are living in great self-control and they are, but inside the mind is lust. Lust is not only at the physical level for physical pleasure. Lust can be for power, lust can be for position, lust can be for popularity. Lust, greed, attachment, kama, raga, balanvita. And so what do they do? What is that ghor tapasya that they do? So it says karshayanta sharirastham. They actually torture the body. You must have seen some people's, with that hunter, chabuk, they hit themselves. Some people lie on nails. Some people stand in hot sun. Some people sit in front of fire. Agre vanhi prishthe bhanu ratrau chubuka samarpita janu. They want to wear proper warm clothes in the cold. They are sitting like that in the cold. Chubuka means they are sitting just like that. See, one is that you live in simplicity, austerity, you don't want great ostentatious behavior, you don't want luxuries, basic necessities, you take care of the body, and then your focus is on sadhana. That is different thing. Or sometimes one is in a situation where one has landed up in such a way that one doesn't have any warm clothes and is very cold. Now you do titiksha, you deal with it, or kya. That is different. Here it is that they will torture themselves. And what is Bhagavan saying here? That is very important. Karshayanta sharirastam bhutagramam achetasaha. They are torturing the elements in the body, so they will not eat properly, they will not drink enough water, they don't do exercises. All that torture the body. And Bhagavan is saying what? Mam chaiva anta sharirastham. So by torturing the body, whom are they actually torturing? Bhagavan is saying they torture me who is in their heart. Mam chaivanta sharirastham. Bhagavan says tan vidya asura nishchayan. Know them to be asuras. Why? Because they may have shraddha, which is rajasic tamasic, which is why above it is written dambha ahankara samyuktaha kama raga balanvitaha. They are not doing this to evolve. Now you see one simple example if we understand here. In Ramayana we see Ravan, Vibhishan, Kumbhakarna. All the three of them do tapasya, please Brahmaji. When Brahmaji appears, each of them, how they are asking the boon to Brahmaji, you see. Ravan asks for immortality. Brahmaji says that we can't give. So he says nobody should be able to kill me except Nara and Vanara. And he gives one big list. In Valmiki Ramayana, you see that Uttarakhand, that whole list will come. In that, he doesn't mention Nara and Vanara. He mentions all so many other species and Devata and Gandharva and Trinity and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all of these. So many he mentions. Nara and Vanara he doesn't mention. So he wanted power to rule the world, whole creation. Rajoguna. Vibhishan asks for devotion for lotus feet of Bhagwan, Sattva Guna. So the Shraddha is Sattvic, expressing in a Sattvic way through the boon. And the Kumbhakarna, dull, lethargic, lazy. Brahmaji was actually scared that now if he asks something and if he is awake also, how many resources of the creation he will go on consuming. So Tulsi Ramayana says that Devatas tell Saraswati Devi to play a trick, and then so Kumbhakarna asks for sleep. Now each of them is asking based on their Shraddha. And so the result they will get is also according to that. So now here, when Bhagavan is saying here, Dambha Ahankara Balanvitaha, then Kamaraga Balanvitaha, Dambha Ahankara Sanyuktaha, Kamaraga Balanvitaha. That is a Rajasic and Tamasic Shraddha. And so they are torturing themselves, and through that they are torturing Bhagavan only in the heart. When we understand this, then our mind will turn towards the subtler sadhana, sattvic sadhana, and go by what the Shastra is saying. Scripture is not telling us to torture the body at all. What will you get torturing the body? Comfort, we should not be a victim of, number one. Number two, one should take care of the body. It is a tool to do sadhana. Otherwise, one will squander away this wonderful opportunity. And whatever karma we do, karma phala will come. No? If somebody is not going to eat for a long time, acidity, reflux, many things will happen. Then one has to sit and deal with all that. Where is the time then to do sadhana? When going to hospital and coming all the time. Or somebody all the time falling sick, and somebody has to be there to take care. Where which sadhana will happen? Then torture for oneself also and others also. So Shastra is not telling us to torture yourself. The scriptures are giving sadhanas for integrating body, mind, intellect, for helping us to come to sattvic state from rajas and tamas, and then to cross beyond it. Some places it will give hard rules. For what? It will give hard rules for sometimes prayaschitta. If somebody has lived in a adharmic way or done something wrong or done some papa karma, negative karma, then that person, to help that person to get out of that tendency, certain things will be said, ki, okay, do this many upvas, or do this dhan, or do this much japa. Idea is not to torture. Idea is to transform from tamas to rajas to sattva. And one thing also we should remember, that Bhagavan is not pleased by torture. Please, some people think the more I torture myself, the more easily Bhagavan will be pleased. Arey, Bhagavan is Karunamay. He is most kind and compassionate, and he wants all the jivas to have that bhav of karuna, of kindness, love, compassion. Only their ego surrenders. simply torturing oneself, not eating food for a long time, not sleeping properly, in the name of sadhana, that is not good. We generally swing to extremes. Either we oversleep or we don't sleep only properly. Overeat or go on doing fast after fast after fast. Or don't eat properly through the day, very erratic timing. In the sixth chapter only Bhagavan said be in moderation. So this is very clearly these two verses what Bhagavan gives here are to make one understand that tapas also must be based on sattva guna. Don't try to torture yourself nor torture others. Both are not good. And so here, having understood this, see Gurudev has written very nicely here. The very first para in this commentary, he says, over enthusiasm can produce only a physical exhaustion and an inward fatigue. No spiritual unfoldment can be expected from unintelligent expenditure of energy in wrong channels, merely because it is undertaken in the name of religion. See this, so clear. Unintelligent expenditure of energy in wrong direction. Why? Bhagwan is Antaryami. We have to turn the mind introvert and surrender to realize that Atma, consciousness. Why will one torture oneself? For what joy? What will that do? If it is, sometimes the torture that one goes through will only create more body identification and thoughts of the body, mind, intellect, and not think about Bhagwan. I remember that I've gone through it. It was not a tamasic tapas in that sense, but when one is not clear about it, that one will end up in that only. So I was doing fasting, only water between sunrise sunset. 8 days fast. 2 days I was going to school also. That was in my some 7th, 8th standard something. So went 2 days to school, attended class, everything. Third day, half day or something, what was it, Saturday or something it was. So 3 days gone. But I remember last 4 days, the mind is only on food because body has become weak. One is only drinking boiled water. One is doing whatever pratikaman and all that one knows, one is doing that, but after that the mind is craving for food. And one is waiting, counting days now. 3 days more, 2 days more, 1 day more. Each sadhak goes through different things in their own sadhana journey to understand, okay, this is working, this is not working, this is not to be done, this is to be done. See, people have their own logic behind it when they want to do fasting for so many days and all that. But if somebody is able to keep their mind on Bhagwan, then okay. But if somebody is not able to keep their mind on Bhagwan and the mind is on body or on food, then that sadhana is of no use. Better shift to some other sadhana which will increase the remembrance of Bhagwan, increase surrender, and yet there will be self-control in that. So that's why he says that majority of seekers misapply their energies and they come to suffer. Therefore, Krishna considers it easier to paint the picture of the false seeker and ridicule his unintelligent methods. I'm not saying upvas, whoever is doing is false seeker. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we have to be clear that our energies are not misguided and in wrong direction. That's all. Purpose we have to become very clear. So, physical restraints and self-denials are no doubt sometimes prescribed to some sturdy physical structures for some limited period. At the same time, it is not proper or correct to believe that any kind of self-denial would constitute an austerity, and that by following it, creative unfoldment of the inner personality structure could be successfully brought about. The austerities must be scientific and therefore not against the injunctions laid down in the sacred books that discuss this subject. We should follow that. There are so many things that the scripture tells us, which if we follow, we will see the benefit. Getting up early morning, doing the Sandhya Vandan or doing Ekadashi Upvas, Dwadashi worship of Bhagwan Vishnu, Pradosha worship of Bhagwan Shiva, so many deities. Each of them, Sankashti Chaturthi will come like that. Different deities, different sadhanas are given. Japa sadhana is given, Puracharan sadhana is given, Yajna is given. So many. One should do all of those. Why torture the body? Where is it said in the scripture that you sit and torture yourself? They're not required. That's why just by Shraddha, one must have heard somebody, one must have seen somebody, okay, they are doing so much and this will please Bhagwan, so these people also will start doing. No, go back to the scripture and understand why it is saying, what is the intent, what should be fulfilled through this, and is it applicable for me, then take it up. So now when Bhagwan has said this, he goes on now to explain three kinds of, so Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic in different areas of life. This is why Vinoba Bhave calls this chapter as program yoga, because it gives a proper program by which I can make my life Sattvic. 7th verse, you see. Aharastvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priyah yajnastapastatha danam tesham bhedamimam shrinu. So now Bhagavan is giving in these four areas, ahara, yajna, tapa and dana. In these four areas, how to clearly know what is Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. 4 areas, 3 gunas. So 12 points will come now. Each of these 4 in Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Idea is to recognize, because we go through all the 3 gunas. And the idea is to integrate. Now why only ahara, yajna, dana, tapa? Why not something else also? Because these cover the personality. Ahara will cover the body, yajna will cover the mind, dana will cover the dravya, the things that we have, and tapa, it will cover the intellect. Body, mind, intellect also it can cover depending on what tapas one does. Here it will be, tapas will be of the body, speech and the mind. So by saying this, yajna, ahara, yajna, dana and tapa, overall Bhagavan has covered everything actually, what a seeker needs to do. So what he says, aharastvapi sarvasya, of all beings. In fact, here it is mainly for human beings. Aharastvapi sarvasya. And yajna, tapa and dana. This trividho bhavati priyaha, we have to connect to all the 4. For each one, based on their gunas, certain type of thing will be preferable. So based on the preference, we can understand the guna. Please remember, that is the meaning of this. It is not saying, like now when it will describe the food, it is not that this is the sattvic food. This is the food preferred by the mind which has sattva guna, which loves sattva guna. That is what is said. So when the mind is preferring this type of food, then we can infer that the mind has sattva guna. Because directly to know sometimes the guna is not easy, especially the subtler guna like sattva. We know the guna through the expression. So when that expression is done, then we understand, oh, my mind is right now craving for spicy food, that means there is rajoguna in the mind, which is predominating. So from the food choice or from yajna, dana, tapa, any of these, one can understand the state of mind. And when one is in the state of mind, one will prefer a type of food. And so if you change that external food or dana, yajna, whatever we are doing, internal state also can change. They both influence each other, but obviously the inner state is more subtler than the external action. But by changing externality, the inner state can be influenced. I may crave for Rajasic food, but if I say no, I am not going to eat this now, I still eat the sattvic food, then slowly that mind will transform into sattva only. So now that's why he says aharastvapi sarvasya trividho bhavati priyaha. Priyaha. It is dear. Food which is dear is to each person is threefold. Same way yajna is threefold, dana is threefold, tapas is threefold. And so he says now understand their difference. Now he will start. See, when somebody says be sattvic, now Bhagavan said na in the Gita, in the second chapter, Bhagavan told Arjun, Nitya sattva stha bhava. Arjun, be in sattva guna maximum time. In fact, he said at all times. How to be in sattva guna? We will ask na, that question. Bhagavan, you are saying be sattvic. How? This is the method. The practical methods he has given here now. And 18th chapter also he will continue. Already he explained the three gunas in 14th chapter. Now he will say in this chapter about ahara, yajna, dana and tapa. 14th chapter he will say about three types of karta, three types of karma, three types of fortitude, three types of sukha, three types of dhriti, three types of karma, all that he will tell. So with all this, when we put together, one will understand if I want to make my life sattvic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the things to be done. Very practical. That's why it is strange that people say Gita is theory. What theory is? So every verse can be lived actually. And there are specific techniques also that Bhagavan has given. If you see that 4th chapter, 12 types of yajnas he has given. They all are doable. So now he is going to go on to explain. So before we go into this, the ahar. So what is the meaning of ahar? Ahriyate iti aharaha. That which we consume, which we take in. So yes, obviously here one meaning is food through the mouth, what we eat, the water we drink, the kind of things that we consume through the tongue. But it also ultimately will go down to all the other senses also. That's an extended meaning. So the Upanishads say ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. If your intake is purified, mind will become purified. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhi. There sattva there is not sattva guna. There sattva is the mind. So if you purify the intake, the input, the mind will become purified. Chandogya Upanishad also goes on to explain that how the food becomes three parts. What we eat, the gross part becomes the body, all this bone and marrow and blood and flesh and muscle and all this. The subtle part of the food becomes the mind and the waste part comes out. And food and the mind are also closely connected. You don't eat food for a long time, memory will start failing, mind will lose alertness, many things will happen. Full experiment is there in that. So food and mind are very closely connected. And as we saw, the mood of the mind We may not be able to directly understand our thoughts and which mood I am in, but through the preference we will come to know. So then one should become alert. Now, having said this, now he will explain what is the type of food that a person who has sattva guna in mind, what type of food will they like. See, the word in this shloka 7th also is priyaha, and the word in 8th, 9th, 10th also will be satvika priyaha, rajasa priyaha, tamasa priyaha, all that will come now. Rajasa sieshtha, like that, some little expression change is there, but that is what they desire. So now let us see. Ayuh sattva balarogya sukha priti vivardhanaha रस्या स्निग्धा स्थिरा हृदयाः आहारा सात्विक प्रियाः. So he says aharaha satvika priyaha. Those who have sattva guna in their mind predominantly, they love or prefer these type of foods. What are they? The food which increases ayu, longevity, life, it increases. Then sattva increases purity of mind, meaning doesn't create agitation in the mind, peace, harmony, balance, happiness. So ayuhu sattva bala strengthens the person from within. Certain food which when we take, it will actually strengthen us. Ayuhu sattva bala. Arogya makes a person more and more healthy, not very pleasing to the taste and tongue, but it compromises the health. No, it increases, strengthens the health. Ayu, sattva, bala, arogya, sukha makes a person happy. Ayu, sattva, bala, arogya, sukha, preeti will increase love. These 6 things it will increase. Ayu, sattva, bala, arogya, sukha and preeti. Okay, but which are these type of foods? 4 types of foods they are. Rasya, snigdha, sthira, hridya. They are very juicy. So all these fruits, vegetables, all that. Rasya, snigdha, they are good, very well lubricating, like proper, ghee and olive oil and all this proper things which body needs to lubricate. People are drinking now coconut oil also. Rasyaha, snigdhaha, sthira, which stabilize the body, which doesn't create sugar spikes so much, massive random fluctuations. Straight it goes up and then crash. Stabilizers, steady release of energy, proteins, fats, increase, mix it properly so that sugar cravings are not there. All that, so that will stabilize the body, make it healthy, strong, reduce the glucose spikes, all that. Rasya, snigdha, sthira, and hridya, which are good for the heart. Not all this cholesterol and triglyceride and all that it increases. Not that. So, when he says this, the people who are having sattva guna, they prefer foods like this. They don't go only by tongue. They don't go just by taste. Whatever I feel like eating, no, they will go, okay, what does the body need and what is good for the body, what time. So timing is important, quantity is important, quality is important, all that is important in food. The attitude with which the food is cooked, the vessels in which it is cooked, the way in which it is served, the attitude with which one is eating it, all that affects the food and the effect of that on the body and the mind both. Today we are watching television or whatever, the phones or iPads or computer and eating. We're not eating mindfully. Or we are eating in a hurry. while driving the car, grab something, eat something, on the move, fast, quickly. And it is having its own effect. People's healths are going, so many challenges are there, health diseases and health issues. With so much of research and knowledge and development in science, everything also. Because one of the reasons is, yes, food also has got adulterated. Many things are happening which we don't know actually what are we consuming. But apart from that, the way in which one is living, the whole lifestyle is sometimes such. Knowing also, so many times one doesn't want to follow. Now and then some cheat day, some breaking of rule happen, that's okay. But one is living like that only normally then, breaking all rules. Then body goes through difficulty. For a spiritual sadhak, it is more important, is not just the body, it is the control on the mind. When I know something is not good for me and I'm still engaging in that, that means I lost control on the mind. I have become impulsive. That is more dangerous for a spiritual seeker, because then the surrender doesn't happen. Mind doesn't follow discipline. It will go by raga and dvesha, and the raga and dvesha will pull the person down. So here, that's why Bhagavan is saying, Ayuhu Sattva Bala Arogya Sukha Priti Vivardhana. So raw food. Now raw food also one is eating, then one doesn't know, because so much of pesticide and so many things are injected into it, one has no clue. So they will say organic, trusted source, all that, how much ever, all that has to be put in, the effort has to be put in now, because Kali Yuga, because anybody is out there to cheat. Who would have imagined that people can eat watermelon and die? How sad. Some time back it happened. Watermelon, one family ate four of them. Night they ate watermelon, morning they all are dead. So sad. Because they inject that to give that red color, that such chemicals are injected. So one has to be careful now. This Rasya Snigdha Sthira Hridya is written here. But we have to also know what is the current scenario. If one says, I'm going to go on fruit diet full, fruit also has, it will also increase sugar. So one proper, actually it's so strange, that one doesn't get properly educated also in health. In basic thing that we are eating 3 times a day. But what are we eating? How much we should eat? What quantity? Which age? When quantity should reduce? Nobody told. I don't know if in today's education the children are learning all that now, but at least we were not taught any of this in depth. Some balanced meal, food pyramid, all that is taught, but nobody taught that what is calorie, how calories are required to be counted, and why calories counting is required, and how to lose weight. The only way is calorie deficit, and what type of food one should eat. What is the combination? Our food, Indian food, is so carbohydrate high, and protein sources are so low, and we are in such delulu, thinking that I'm drinking 2 cups of dal, I get enough protein. Kuch nahi, 4 gram protein milega usse. How will we know all that? Nobody taught. Then one is finding out through experimentation, this, that. Somebody will say, do naturopathic diet and eat only fruit till 12 o'clock. Arey Rama. If it suits somebody, let it go on, but it also creates its own side effects. So this, what is written here, Rasya Snigdha Sthira Hridya, no doubt the principles are correct. We have to see how it will apply here now. Rasya, if I want to eat, when and where, और उसमें भी कितना confusion, बाप रे. Somebody will say eat fruit as a separate meal. Somebody will say no, mix it with the food so that your sugar spike is not high. Somebody will say you eat separately but eat with curd. अरे एक बात तो बोलो भाई. But no, full on confusion. Each one has their own reasoning also. The point is, one can find out the logic and see what is applicable if one has health condition, all that, based on that one can decide. But with proper knowledge. Imagine just for food now one has to get so clear, otherwise what one is eating and what will happen to the body. Even says ghee is very good, go on eating. If scriptures it is already said, Ghritam vai ayuhu, ghee is life. Now it is said here that snigdhaha and ayuhu bala. So ghee will give you strength, ghee will give you nice strong voice, ghee will give you, your metabolism also. Ghee is good fat, all that. I start eating dalda ghee. What will happen? Any such ghee which is hydrogenated oil or any such ghee which is vanaspati wala and all that, what will happen? So one has to figure out there what is the quantity, what is the just seeing some reels or some YouTube podcast one starts following, it will become challenging. So one needs to identify what is required, what quantity, how much, when, all that. It is effort. But once one knows, then put the body through that disciplining, it will become efficient. Rasya, snigdha, sthira. One has to observe one's own body also. What creates the spike? If you take this isabgol, that husk which is there with water, take that isabgol before food, half an hour before food, and you see the sugar spike will be very less. Like that, there are so many tricks to figure out. After eating, walk 15 minutes, just walk, because the legs have the biggest set of muscles. And if you walk, basic walk, nobody saying walk very fast, nothing, simple walking you do 10 minutes, sugar spike will become less. It will be less. It won't be so high as if one is just sitting after eating food. If you can't walk, do leg raises. From the you put the feet on the ground and lift the leg up, down, calf raises. Do. So many methods are there today that one needs to follow. Then the health will be good, mind will be sattvic. Everyone says, no, I am very lazy. Already mind has become tamasic there. Get up after eating food, walk 10 minutes or do some leg raises. Even if you are watching something, keep doing leg raises 10 minutes. That's all. Today, so many methods are available in that way, whereby one has to observe the mind while making the food choices, while eating, what is my mindset, after food, what is my mindset. That is sadhana, to be aware of the mind and to eat, making the right choices. And where to eat raw food also one should be careful. If one is not clear about the hygiene factor, don't touch that raw food, however great it may be. This Kailas Yatra I went, paid the price for it in one way. Took some raw food in some reputed hotel it was. I just thought I ate little bit of some salad and some sprout. Finished. Got stomach infection only. So where to eat, where one has to be so clear and careful. Rasya, snigdha, sthira, hridya. One can't say ki bhai, raw food is available, chalo khao. Oh. Intelligent choices have to be made. Rasya, snigdha, sthira, hridya. Aharaha, satvika, priyaha. So the mind which is sattvic will prefer this type of food. Doesn't mean that if one eats something spicy or something which is, whatever we say, chaat and anything which is chatpata item and all that, though a rajasic person. The idea is not to brand oneself or others. Predominantly, if the sattvic choices are made, mind will be sattvic, and if mind is sattvic choices we will make. That's the main point. So, Shivananji used to say two things: sugar, white sugar, and white salt. He used to say actually. Now it depends on each one how much one wants to follow and what one should follow. He used to say these are two very subtle addictions of human being, and so there are some months or some days where one will avoid these to develop self-control and also for the health of the body. I suppose somebody has sodium issue and sodium balance is gone, then please don't you eat proper salt. Otherwise, in our childhood, there used to be 1 month of Jesht only, I think. In Jesht Mahina, we won't eat salt only. In Gujarati, they call alunu. Alunu means no salt. Lavana is actually salt, so alunu they say. So no salt. 1 month, no salt. You try eating one meal without salt sometimes. Some of you may be used to it, but some people who are not used to it, it doesn't taste only proper. It won't go down the throat. I do all these experiments for myself also in my sadhana, and I make the campers also do. One Uttarkashi camp, it was like that. We were doing Kathopanishad and talking about Nachiketa, and he sacrificed so many things and he let go of what all temptations Yamraj gave, all that, and then we went, morning class got over, then we went for that trek to Nachiketa Tal. Small trek only, it is not some very big one and all that, but people have to walk some 3 kilometers up, 3 kilometers down, like that. So then came back, and everybody in the evening, and khichdi is there. People are hungry like anything. Khichdi and aloo ka sabji with rasa wala aloo ka sabji. And they have taken enough quantity because they are hungry. They all took, they sat to eat. And everybody is eating and they are looking at my face. Because that morning I had also told one anecdote of Taponji Maharaj. Sundaranandji was serving Taponji Maharaj. One day he asked Taponji Maharaj, can you please give me 10 paisa? Taponji Maharaj said, why do you want? He said, I want to buy salt. Taponji Maharaj looked at him and said, Namak khane ke liye sadhu bane ho kya? Meaning whatever food has come to you, just eat. For taste you want, you will go to the market now, get the salt, come, put it, then you will eat food. Nothing wrong in anybody wanting to eat salt, but he is a sadhu. And Tapon Maharaj wanted to convey one instruction. It's okay, you eat today. Without salt, eat. Now everybody looking at me, they can't even ask. So many people, I also ate the same food only without salt. But it is not going down the throat for many because one is so attached to that taste. So Shivanand used to say this, sugar and salt, two very strong addictions they are actually, if one has become addicted. Otherwise their necessity also is there, that we are not saying anything about. We are saying this addiction which is in a taste. So he would say, take vrata and get control over these. And if a person controls the taste, so many other things will come in control. One of the things that will come in control because of that control of the tongue is this kama and krodha. If one doesn't have control on the taste, kama krodha also will be very difficult to control. So that's why he says here, ayuh sattva bala arogya sukha priti vivardhanaha. Choose food which will increase all these 6 factors. Rasya snigdha sthira hridya ahara satvika priyaha. Food which will be good for the body, which doesn't create toxins, it promotes more health. Even the time for sleep, time for eating food, all that one has to be so careful. Sattvic mindset will choose very carefully. And people are doing that today and they are seeing the benefit. So many, some of the sports celebrities, some of the actors, some of this, all this, fashion industry, and so many of them, they see the benefit when they shift from non-vegetarian to vegetarian. When they shift the timing to closer to sunset, they finish eating. Late, they won't eat. One is seeing the results. It's not that one can't live it like that today or one can't be successful. One can be it. It all depends on the mind. So this is uh, the description of the mindset which is sattvic, which will prefer this type of food. And when one eats that type of food, one can actually change the mindset also to sattvic. Please remember, food is one element, okay? Don't say that I started eating sattvic food, but still nothing changed. But if you don't change other things in terms of what you are reading, what company you are keeping, what work you are doing, what attitude you are having, what things you talk to yourself, if none of those are changing, only food you have changed to sattvic, then expecting that some miracle will happen, that will not work. This is one area. Many other areas of life one has to do. One's duties one has to do, values one has to follow, all that has to happen. Now, having said about sattva, what is rajoguna? The mindset of rajas. कट्वं ललवणात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः आहाराः राजसस्येष्ठा दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः. So he says, food which are bitter. People like bitter chocolate. Some of them they like bitter gourd and all that also, but many people like things which are burnt also. It will taste bitter, but they like it. Some of the things will be burnt, it will be smoky flavor, it will be there. Charcoal ka taste also will come sometimes, but unwants, okay, katvam. Then amla, sar, the khatta. It can be pickle, it can be anything, khatta, amla, anything. Taste itself will be khatta. Dahi, very khatta. One likes it's okay. Katvam, katu, then amla, then lavana, very salty food. Normal salt is not enough, take extra and put very salty. So many of these preserved, whatever processed food which all comes, how much salt is there in that? Extra because preservative. Even the pickle that we make in a home also we put so much salt as preservative. When we were children, we used to make all this chunda, katki, bataki, all this. So go to the market, get the mangoes, wash them, put them in water for some 1 day or something, then wash them, cut them, put it in or that sugar and salt and haldi and mirchi, all that one puts, mix and take it up to the terrace. In the summer, we used to do that only 20 days up, down, up, down, up, down. And that is supposed to be the good, nice pickle, not made on the gas. If somebody makes it on the gas, my grandmother say gas ma banavelu chhe. This is secondary. What was that? Second rate. You take it up, down, put it in the whole sun whole day, tie it with that cloth so that that dust will not fall and take it up to the sun. Khatta. So many of these various pickles one makes. So kattu, amla, lavana, ati ushnam, excessively hot. Regular hot is not enough. They want piping hot. At one time, Guruji used to drink, Swami Tejomayanji used to drink this Bonvita. Very piping hot. Regular hot, we only won't be able to drink. We want much more hot. Piping hot. Excessively hot. Sometimes excessively hot here also means this. Ushna can also mean hot in taste. The Andhra Gongkura chutney and pickle and all. Oh, baap re, kitna tikha hai. But people love it. They're eating it as though that is the main course, and vegetable they're eating like one pickle. So, Ati Ushna, Tikshna, very pungent, Ruksha, dry, no proper gravy, nothing, just dry one is just eating. Vidahi, it is burning in the stomach. And the effect of it is like that, so much of chili powder dal ke kha rahe. I remember one, our very, Patnaik ji, he was working in our books division, he was the manager there. And I used to study Vedant course. And I will take bland food and come and take and sit and eat, because that time I took up that one part. I used to eat only bland food, which will have only namak and haldi, nothing else will be there in that. Bland sabji and one dal, one katori sabji and one two roti. That's it. He will come right opposite me only and sit. Not that he wanted to actually sit, but that is a place he chose. And how much green chili, baap re. You put it in the buttermilk also, put it in the sabji also, put it in the dal also, and then have separately also to eat. Minimum 60-70 green chilies he must be having in one meal. And sometimes he will cough also, and his whole face will become red. But he loved it. So it may burn the stomach also, but he still ate. Tikshna ruksha vidahinaha. Aharaha rajasa sieshtaha. So when rajoguna predominates the mind, then this is the food that one will want. It happens or not. When hunger pangs are there, that time somebody brings salad, one will say, Arey, ye nikalo, give me something more tasty. Because the mind is like at that point in time, is not in a sattvic state. Hunger pang is there, one wants to eat something. Conditioning only it is. Nothing. Some people may eat salad also, but majority won't eat. They will want some rajasic type of food because the mind is in that state. So ahara rajasa sieshtha. What will be the result of that? This earlier thing, 6 things it will increase, sattvic food. This is dukkha shoka amaya pradaha. It will give sorrow and it will give grief and it will create disease. Amaya. Please remember again, we are not saying all rajasic food will only create sorrow, grief and disease. No, no, no. It's only that if one is predominantly eating like this, then it will land up there. Now and then one eats, nothing much will happen, but if that's a regular food, then one has to think about it. We used to eat at one point in childhood, food was so tikha in the house. That's how people used to eat. Then people started getting all kinds of acidity and this and that. Slowly one had to reduce. Last one here is this tamasic mindset. What the tamasic mindset will seek? यातयामं गतरसं पूतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम्. Yatayamam, which has become stale, which has gone beyond 3 hours. One yama is 3 hours, which is gone beyond 3 hours. Now please remember, this is written when fridge was not there, okay? I'm not justifying, I'm not saying you keep food for long time in fridge and then eat. But the point is, if one can eat fresh, cooked and eat as soon as possible within 3 hours, best nutrient value is good. It will nourish the body well. But today there are chances which are, the circumstances which are that we may not be able to do that all the time. So then if one is kept in fridge, heat it up next day and then eat, it is not such a, for many days if one is keeping, then there's something to think about. And that also what one is keeping, all that. But in general, yatayamam, stale food, which has started, what we call, the fungi in that, bacteria in that is all started multiplying. That type of food, tamasic. Then gatarasam, the rasa only is gone, is tasteless. The essence has been removed. Then puti, putrid, Paryushitam, rotten. Uchishtam, which is, jhutha, or which is a refuse. Somebody has eaten half and left it. And Uchishtam api amedhyam, which is impure. Some hair is there, some dirt is there, or some other impurity is there. Bhojanam tamasa priyam, the mind which has tamoguna will prefer all this type of food, which is stale, putrid, putrefied, uchishtam, and so much of this. Sometimes even what they say, the food which is, many times even all this beer, wine, all this is kept for so long and it actually putrefied. Then one is drinking all that. So the food which will not be fresh, which will not create more pranic energy, sattvic food will create more pranic energy. That's why Ayu, Sattva, Bala, Arogya, Sukha, Priti, Vivardhana. Rajas will, the more one cooks more all these rajasic elements, prana will reduce. And this tamasic food will be minimum prana. I'm not talking physical energy, I'm talking prana shakti. So these three types of food, one has, they have been mentioned. As much one can choose sattva, that much better. It will help the person. So three types of food we have seen. Now yajna, dana, tapa we will see in our next class. For today we will stop here. We thank all the yajmans, the mukhya yajmans, the yajmans for Gita Arti for the whole series, the Dainik Yajman and the Dainik Arti Yajmans. May Bhagwan's grace be with us. May our Shraddha be sattvic. And may we make sattvic choices based on sattvic mindset. And may Bhagwan help us to rise above Rajas and Tamas. Om Tat Sat. Jai Shri Krishna. If there are any questions, we will take it up after the Arti.
ॐ जय भगवद्गीते मैया जय भगवद्गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनि कामासक्तिहरा तत्त्वज्ञान विकासिनि
श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय, श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ओके। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। There's a question. Okay. Yes.
Hariom Swamiji,
Hari Om.
I just wanted to clear that you said that a person is of Sattvic Guna if they worship Bhagwan and Devtas and Rajsik, Tamsik like that. But what happens when a person doesn't worship anything?
So the mindset, why the person is not worshipping, the quality of that thought has to be analyzed, not to understand whether it's Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic. One can't directly say if they are not worshipping Bhagwan, it's Tamasic mind. ऐसा नहीं होता. So it depends what is the mind of that person. If the person may not be worshipping Bhagwan because of whatever reasons, they may not have exposure or knowledge or clarity, but they are living a sattvic life, they are following good values, they are being kind, they are doing their duties, then they are sattvic only.
So that's what matters at the end.
No, it will matter because finally that through surrender to Bhagwan only one will realize the truth. But one can't say if because one is not worshipping Bhagwan, that person is bad or that person is to be condemned. One has to see what is the way the person is living, what is the thought process, what is the attitude, what is the goal that person has, all that. Eventually one will come to understand the existence of Bhagwan and one will surrender only. But it may take whatever they need, time, knowledge, clarity.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Right.